I'm Joanna Simpson here at QuantMinds International in London. Joining me now is Alexander Sokol, Founder, Executive Chairman and Head of Quant Research at CompatibL. Thank you very much for joining me today.
Thank you.
So what prompted you to organise the Hackathon on quantitative finance here at QuantMinds International, and what were your impressions of it?
Yeah, so we wanted to see what people to see for themselves what this amazing technology can do for them in a practical setting, where they don't listening to the presentation, but actually doing something. And this really succeeded, I think, beyond our wildest expectations, because there are so many people came, right? So many people worked throughout the day, and so many people succeeded, because especially I think that part of it is that we spent a lot of time to prepare, and we made it accessible not just for people who code, but also for everybody, right? So there was a coding stream where you code, and there's also a stream where you develop prompts using the interface that we created and put online for that purpose. And we're glad we did, because so many people were able to participate who normally don't program, but they're able to see exactly what you have to do to use this tool successfully. And this succeeded, I think, beyond our wildest expectations, because normally in the hackathon, you want to make sure that the problem is challenging but still can be solved. And almost every participant was able to more than double the success rate of this initial basic prompt that we put in. And by the end, it was working twice better for everybody. And some people achieved like 90-95% success rate, which normally would be considered something that a software development team has to accomplish, let's say, in a week, right? But they've been able to do it in a day.
So through experiencing this directly, what were some of the most innovative or promising projects or solutions that emerged from the hackathon? And could they be applied in quantitative finance?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we centered hackathon on two streams, which are both we think very relevant to quant finance. In fact, this was kind of a simplified version of the same thing that our product does and what my presentation was about, right? And the two things that, first one was model governance. On the hackathon, we had the simplified version, one small aspect of that can be solved in a day, which is understanding and reading pricing functions, right? So this is something that in a bank, model governance experts have to analyze model documentation, look at the models themselves, make sure they're in sync, they're properly documented. So the task was to understand the pricing function and have AI detect what instrument it is and detect its parameters and verify that the pricing code was correct. And then this was one stream. And second stream was a term sheet comprehension. There are many instruments in the financial industry, like offering memorandum, structured notes, confirmations that involve a very complex, unstructured way to describe something very precise, right? So in other words, there is an instrument which is precise, right? That's a sequence of cash flows that go between two parties. But every bank has a different template of how it's formalized, right? Some banks describe it in one way, other banks describe it in a totally different way. So we had a selection of publicly available term sheets from EDGAR, which is a Security Exchange Commission database for public filings. And the participants instructed large language models to analyze and extract parameters from these documents. And likewise, everybody was so successful, and just amazing, that they succeeded beyond our wildest dreams.
No, that's great. And you mentioned your presentation there, which was model governance and document comprehension AI product. What reception did it receive from the quantitative finance community?
Yeah, I think it was very, very positive reception, and we very freely share the concept and technology behind it. So we have a software product that we're offering to our clients, but also we're talking about how we build it, exactly what it takes to build it, because we'd like the community, at large to benefit. We'd like everybody to use these tools. I think that's just as a tide lifts all boats. And we would like everybody, even our competitors, to adopt these tools, because I think that's where the industry should be heading.
And what prompted the development of this AI co-pilot? What was the underlying rationale for addressing model governance and document comprehension in the financial industry?
And so we wanted to understand, as a firm, where exactly, we can use these tools to benefit our clients and the industry. And I think that there's so much hype around it, but also, with this hype, sometimes people just try to do something that these tools are either not ready to do, or it's just a bad idea. Like, for example, as a financial professionals, we don't want to rely on ChatGPT to give us investment advice, right? This is not what our clients would expect us to do. So, we try to find something where a sweet spot at the intersection of our industry, specialized knowledge in our industry and language, right? And we identified two areas. So one of them was model governance, where regulators require, and rightly so, that all of the models in the bank are documented, right? So there's a model source code. There are model commit messages, how engineers and quants describe what they've done every time they change the code. And on the other hand, there are model release notes, there is model documentation, everything that regulators require. And it's tremendously difficult to keep the two things in sync, right? So this is something that engineers and quants are often reluctant to do. Let's admit it, right? You would rather be writing models than documenting them and writing log documents, right? Also, it's very labor intensive. Also, it requires very high expertise, right? So everybody in model governance has to understand the models, otherwise they will not be able to do the job. So we felt that there is so much effort is going in, and this project takes so long that this is where the industry can benefit from AI-based automation. And same thing is for the other topic, where reading complex contract documents and anywhere from offering memorandum for structured for securitization, structured instrument tranches, and so forth. Also, structured notes reading, for example, a party pays another party a coupon based on equity appreciation, with barriers, all kinds of instrument parameters. So this is something that we felt that like two areas where language intersects with finance, where we normally are used to precision in describing our trading, describing our risk. So here we have something that has to be interpreted with precision, but based on natural language. And this is exactly what these types of tools help. And we found that with the adoption of these tools, we accelerate tremendously. And literally, from the project goes from let's say 6 months, it can do the same thing in 1 month. But also we make the job of people who do it more enjoyable, because instead of reading hundreds and hundreds of pages of documents and marking them up, they're now working with a co-pilot, where essentially they're instructing and inspecting the work of the co-pilot and making some adjustments. And all of the bulk and work that really people hate to do, is now done by the machine.
And would you share some of your success stories or client testimonials that highlight the positive impact of your AI co-pilots on their goals and operations?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the projects that, I think was really demonstrated the potential of this technology is when in a bank, there was a transition to a new trading system, and this trading system had a different format for the trades. Right, so there was a set of term sheets, natural language documents describing the trades, which were then keyed in and captured in the old system. Now they have to capture it in the new system. Now every software engineer, I know that this is maybe seems simple, but actually it's not, because every system has a different way to describe the same feature of the trade. Right, sometimes you enter the swap with two separate legs, sometimes it's one leg, you say fixed floating fields, right, etc. So in so many cases you have doubt, right? So the trade was keyed in this way, but how can it be keyed in here, right? And also, like, what was the original document saying? So we built a solution very rapidly. Actually, that's one of our first projects. Just shortly, we went into AI shortly after ChatGPT was announced, right? So basically, by February, we're already doing client projects. And one of the first projects was that we taught AI to read the old trade capture, the original document, and produce the new trade capture, right, for validation by humans. And this was, it turns out to be actually in some way much easier than we thought, right? We thought that it will take, months and months and months in doing it, and it turns out that these models are good, that really required very little adjustment. So that's one example. And the other one is, again, my favorite is model governance, because I'm a quant, right? So, I do a lot of other work, right? But at heart, I'm a quant. I started my career as a quant, right? So I just love writing models, right? Documenting models is not something that quants enjoy to do, right? Engineers writing code, right? They don't enjoy writing documents describing what the code does. So I feel that there's so much so empowered by basically being able to write model code, right, and then have the documentation essentially updates like in real time, right, and you just have to instruct the copilot, what to do, right, so adjust it a little bit, but all of this boring work, right, for quant, right, of writing this model documents is now automated. So I felt that it's really something that makes quant's job a lot more enjoyable. And also perhaps, sometimes the documentation is not kept up to date. It takes a lot of time to update it. So now I feel like the moment that the model is finished, the documentation is also finished. And that's exactly what risk control and bank management wants to see.
So it allows you to play to your strengths.
Exactly.
Alexander Sokol from CompatibL, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for having me.